Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Guys, first of all, apologies for not covering the Napoli Cagliari game. I will make it up to you with this last minute, unannounced live stream of the Champions League round of 16 draw, with Napoli being a runner up in their group, and the only teams that they can face is actually just Real Madrid, the team that was in their group. About the Napoli Cagliari game, guys, maybe we can get some questions on that at the end of the whole Champions League thing. Let's focus on the Champions League now. I was also thinking of maybe doing a special video dedicated to the maestro Mario Rui, because when he came on against Cagliari, he made a difference, but more on that later, guys. If you are wondering why I couldn't actually make the video the other day, it's because actually I hurt my tongue, and so it was too painful to speak. Yeah, that happens. So yeah, that's really random, but it is what it is. All right, let's see, guys. This draw, and let me tell you first how I think that the teams kind of rank in terms of, let's just say, in terms of skill. Let's say, yeah. Why don't we say in terms of skill? Because we know that some of the teams that are runner-ups are actually more strong than the teams that finish top of their group. For example, I have Inter being a three-star team, whereas Real Sociedad being a two-star team, even though Real Sociedad beat Inter in the group. And that's just because I think that when it comes down to business, I think Inter are a stronger team than Real Sociedad. You will have noticed I have put Napoli as a two-star team. Guys, obviously, if this was last year, we would have been up there with the 4 out of 4 stars. But with everything that's happened to us this year, with the fact that we don't really know yet Napoli's true potential, we seem to be heavily reliant on guys like Osimhen, like against Cagliari, who have just pulled out a worldie. Then I don't think that we can call ourselves anything more than a two-star team, which is not bad, by the way. It has the likes of PSV, unbeaten this year in Eredivisie, Dortmund, who finished top of a group with Newcastle, Milan, and PSG. But again, two stars not bad, but I just don't fancy us being that much of a favorite against the likes of, I don't know, an Arsenal or a City, or even if we were to play against Atletico Madrid. I've put PSG and Barcelona as a three-star team. You guys might be wondering why, since they've not been fantastic this year. I just think that they have players that if they decide to to turn it up like Mbappe, they can really make the difference. You could argue the same for Napoli, yes, but we know Napoli's problems are much more than that this year. Maybe it's not the best explanation, but you guys kind of feel me, right? I also kind of wanted to stay a little humble, but that's why I didn't put us as a three-star team. Um, Copenhagen PSG would be interesting, says Valerie. Yeah, yeah, that would be very interesting going against Copenhagen. Real Sociedad, Atleti, or Bayern. If not these, hoping for Barca or Arsenal. City and Bayern would be horrific, but in the end, with a great Defensore Central in January, we can beat anybody. Yeah, guys, I think if we get a center back in, maybe if we also get an extra, I don't know, an extra maybe. What do we need, guys? What do we need? Maybe that's a whole different video. But I mean, if Lindstrom continues to not be seen by Mazzari, do we need a new right wing? Who knows? Who knows? Because Politano can't play them all, can he? Anyways, guys, these are my predictions, my draw, not the real draw, but this is what I think is gonna happen. And there's a little bit of a mix of some thought into it, and also a little bit of just randomness. So let's start with Napoli. I want them to face Barcelona. Why? Because As you guys know, I'm going to be in Barcelona in the start of the new year. I was here in Milan for a few months, but going back, so it'd be nice to go see them. Also, they've not been in a fantastic run of form recently, and I think that them not playing in the Camp Nou this year is a huge advantage to whoever goes up against them. City Copenhagen, why? Just so that Manchester United understands what it means for a team in Manchester to beat Copenhagen, because that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. Believe Dom, says Old Hard Rossonero. Unfortunately, Milan not in this year's Champions League. Uh, Lazio Dortmund. Here's a bit of a romantic one. Ciro Immobile goes back to Dortmund and rights his wrongs there and gets Lazio through to the next round. Atleti Leipzig. Honestly, guys, this one is just the teams with blue, red, and white. No, I'm kidding. Atleti Leipzig. This is look. Nobody likes to see Atletico Madrid, anyways, right? They're like a really bad team to watch, in my opinion. Let's just give them another team that's kind of useless to watch. Am I right? Am I right? So then this game is just like, if you've got something to do on that day where these two teams are playing, go do that other thing. Don't watch this game. Sociedad Paris, man, PSG. That's gonna be a good one because look, you've got a team like Real Sociedad, who I believe embodies the total opposite of PSG. They're a team that have been slowly building up to this position, and it's a nice reward for them to go and play at PSG, their round of 16. It's going to be, I think, a game where maybe PSG might underestimate them. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting. Porto, Real Madrid, I did that because I want to see Pepe at 40 years old tackle the Real Madrid players as if there was no tomorrow and showing absolutely no loyalty. Good morning, Dom, says Tyson. Good morning, Tyson. Napoli defense still a huge concern for me. Exactly, exactly. That's why I've put us as a two-star team and not a 3 or 4 star team. The 3 and 4 star teams just are a little bit more complete for me. The 1 star team is like the team that you really wish you could go against. There's just something about the 2 star teams that doesn't feel right. You could put PSG and Barcelona down there as well, but just because of the superstars that they have and or the history in this competition that they have, you got to bump them up a little bit. Anyways, let's go back to our prediction. So Arsenal, Inter, future champions of Italy against the future champions of England. Let's decide that right here, right now. Let's not wait until the end, and let's give Arsenal a real test in this Champions League, because so far their group hasn't been the easiest, but also not the hardest. And for a team that thinks that they're the best in England in what they think is the best league in the world, let's give them a tough Italian opposition. And then finally, Bayern against PSV. This is a draw that reminds me of when I first started watching the Champions League in the early 2000s, when you had the PSV team of Van Bronckhorst and all these guys. And I don't know, there's just something about it where I can just feel like I'm in 2003 or 2004 again, and I'm watching some nice Champions League football. So that's kind of like the reasoning behind these. Some of them are totally random. Some of them are, totally. There's a reason behind them. But hey, in the end, there's actually a lot of different possibilities. The interesting thing is that we've got all four Spanish teams on on the one side of the draw, so as winners of their group. So that's very very interesting. Hey Dom, watching you from class, says Tariq. My man, this is way more important than the classroom, way more important. So that's what I feel is is gonna happen. That's what I hope to happen. And if this were to happen, I would say Bayern, Inter, Real Madrid, Sociedad, Atleti, Dortmund, City, and Napoli would go through. That's right. That's right. That's what I think would happen. But let's go back to me because the Champions League draw is about to start, and so let's focus. And then while this is happening in the background, oh, my light went off. No, it's already out of battery. Let's go for my reserve light. See, guys, I need to go back to my studio, man. I miss my studio where I have the big lights and everything because I'm playing with some toys right now, especially with the lights and the mics, and it's just not good enough. Um, we need to go. We need to win this game to be able to participate in the Club World Cup. Yeah, that's super important, guys. Super important to go to the Club World Cup. We need 6 points to be a level with Juventus. We're at 41, they're at 47. If you don't know what this means, it's basically like there's going to be a Club World Cup in 2025, and every win you get 2 points. Every time you pass the group from now on, it's 1 point. Every draw is 1 point, and accumulatively so far we're at 41 and Juventus is at 47. We need to pass Juventus to be in this Club World Cup, which is going to be like two teams from every country going and participating, and it's going to be a great show. And it would be awesome if we could participate. It would be a lot of money as well, but yeah. Point of view: your unemployed friend story at 12 a.m. Yeah, pretty much this, guys. Pretty much this. I don't have class today, so it is what it is. I actually have exams this week, but whatever, whatever. Oh, okay. They're drawing the first balls. They're touching balls right now, guys. Alert, alert! They're touching a ball. John Terry is opening a ball. Let's see what he does. Let's see what John Terry does. Who does he pick to be the first team? The first team picked is FC Porto. FC Porto. All right, FC Porto. Let's go. Let's go. Who do they get? FC Porto will face. Let's go, guys. FC Porto. Who do they go up against? FC Porto. There's a lot of ball touching happening right now. Not enough results. All right, FC Porto will go against the Arsenal, the Gooners. Porto against Gooners. All right, that's an interesting one. That is an interesting one, guys. FC Porto against the Gooners. That is a juicy game. What do you guys think of that one, guys? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And then we have Napoli as the second team of the runners up being drawn. Who do we have, guys? Who do we have? Napoli against. It can't be Arsenal. It can't be Arsenal. It can be any other of the group winners apart from Arsenal. Who do we have? Who do we have? Who do we have, guys? Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's see. Who do we got? Who do we got? I'm behind. I'm not reading your chat. I'm not reading your chat. Let's see. FC Barcelona. Yes. Yes. And I will be going to the stadium to be watching Napoli Barcelona, and I will be living in Barcelona. That will be what a fantastic experience, and I predicted it. There we go, boys and girls. That is going to be an interesting one. That is going to more on that later. We've got PSG next. PSG against, guys. We'll talk about this Barcelona thing. Let me just do the entire draw. Let me just do the entire draw. Valerie just says ha 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 ha. Victor says easy win for Arsenal. Old Heart Rossonero, man, you're coming with me. You're coming with me, man, to watch Napoli. That's gonna be, oh man, that is gonna be nice. That is going to be super duper nice. We obviously have the first game at home. Then we've got Barca Napoli as the second leg. That's gonna be very interesting. Let's see. PSG against Real Sociedad. That's another one that I predicted. That's another one. That's 2 out of 3. Guys, give me give me the keys to UEFA right now. Get rid of these 3 guys touching all these balls. I will get you the same exact result for free without having to touch all those balls. Copenhagen is next. Copenhagen is next, guys. Copenhagen, they are the team. No, Inter. Sorry, Inter. I can't even recognize Inter's logo, guys. Inter is next, not Copenhagen, and they have. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. What do they have? Who do they got? Who do Inter have? Inter is going to. Valerie says against Atletico. I mean, this guy is like a minute ahead of me in life. He's he's going fast, Valerie. He's speeding through life. He's 1 minute ahead of all of us. This guy will be in 2024 a minute before us because I mean I think I'm watching it live, but this guy is like super live. I mean I don't know. I don't know. Ben Payne is saying get me tickets, Dom. I know, man. Let's do a little reunion. Little reunion. Barca Napoli. PSV Eindhoven, guys. PSV Eindhoven. Let's get it. Let's get it. If you guys are wondering what I am doing in the background while I am talking to you, I am just doing my graphics so that when this is all done, then I can just show you guys who's against who, and we can talk about it. So I'm on Photoshop as this is happening. Lazio Bayern is a good game. I don't think that's been done yet, but that would be cool, bro. I wish you got Arsenal so I could go to that. Yeah. Borussia Dortmund against PSV. That's an interesting one, guys. That's an interesting one, and I'll tell you why. Because it means that in the quarterfinals there will be a team between PSV and Dortmund that I think is totally doable for the rest of us, for whoever passes. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. Well, it's gonna have to be, it's gonna have to be Bayern against Lazio, surely, right? Because Bayern can't play against Copenhagen and they can't play against Leipzig, so it's gonna be Lazio Bayern, and then it's gonna be Copenhagen Man City. All right, all right. No, there's Real Madrid still. There's gonna be Real. Hold on. It's gonna be Real Madrid. It's go. I'm doing too much right now, guys. I'm doing too much. It's gonna be Copenhagen against, well, either Real Madrid or Man City. Let's see who they got. And then it's gonna be very easy to know the next one. So let's see. Do Copenhagen get Man City as I predicted, or do they get Real Madrid? Let's see. Copenhagen get. Wait, I missed it. See, I missed it. Who did who did they get? Hold on. Who did, guys? I missed it. Who did they get? Who did Copenhagen get? Leipzig got Real Madrid, which means that Copenhagen got Man City, surely, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's work on that graphic for 2 seconds, guys. So, Leipzig, Real Madrid. I was close. I said Leipzig, Atleti, and then it ended up being the other Spanish team from Madrid. So, all right, let's save this file, save a copy as a JPEG. 1 second, guys. I am literally nearly with you, nearly there. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see if now this will work. If I go like that, yes, look at that. It's already live. That is the beauty of Photoshop. And there we go, guys. This is the Champions League draw, round of 16. Quick, I'm way behind. Man, I am live streaming. I am watching the stream on my phone. I am doing Photoshop. I am making sure that world hunger is eradicated. I am doing so much right now, man. Bear with me. Bear with me. This is the real draw. The round of 16. FC Porto, Arsenal, Napoli, Barcelona, PSG, Real Sociedad, Inter, Atleti, PSV, Dortmund, Lazio, Bayern, Copenhagen, Man City, RB Leipzig, Real Madrid. All right, guys. This is juicy. This is juicy. This is juicy. All right. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the Napoli Barcelona one. Barcelona are going through a tough time right now. They sit, is it fourth in La Liga? Let's go to the standings of La Liga. They sit third in La Liga, but you have Atletico de Madrid 1 point behind them that has a game in hand. And I think what's worse about Barcelona's situation right now is that they have Girona ahead of them. Guys, this is the equivalent of having Salernitana above you if you are Napoli. Like, please, if you have friends from Barcelona, make sure you reach out to them and make sure that they're okay. I mean, I would not be happy if Salernitana was ahead of me in the table. But that's literally what it is with Girona being ahead of Barcelona. Now, Barcelona have a huge problem. Gavi is injured until the end of the season, broken ACL. You've got Lewandowski, who has been one of Europe's best strikers in recent years, and this year he's just not been able to live up to to his own level. And the drop off is crazy. I mean, nobody was expecting that kind of drop off. You kind of expect players to go like this in their career, then kind of plateau, and then maybe drop off. But Lewandowski's been like boom. I mean, this year he's been pretty bad. He's been pretty bad. Bro's Wi-Fi is ran on a hamster wheel, dude. I know, but it is what it is. I'm not in my studio. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. Dom Photoshop Masterclass. Yes, they call me Michelangelo, man. That's how much of an artist I am. Simeone return to Inter will be a class game. That'll be that'll be such a horrible game, guys. But more on that later. More on that later. Um, Girona is part of the City group, and most of the players are Man City loan players. It is true that Girona has a huge advantage. They are part of this Man City group, which means that they can loan players off to each other. It means that you can use Man City's data to kind of power your own club. Their experience, their insights that they've gathered being at the top elite level all this time. Having said that, they don't spend a lot of money. They have not gone out and bought huge amounts of expensive players. I mean, if you take a look at Girona's starting 11 against Barca, guys, you have David Lopez. Guys, David Lopez. Do you guys understand when I say the word David Lopez as a center back? Do you remember David Lopez at Napoli? Do you have the memory of David Lopez at Napoli? Because I do. And it was a nightmare. This guy, if we are complaining about Juan Jesus, this guy was worse. And not only that, but we had him in midfield. I mean, Girona then was like, oh, maybe this guy's a center back. And Napoli was playing him in midfield. I mean, we had literally a guy with zero skill on the ball playing in midfield for us. He was horrible. He was our reserve of our reserve of our reserve. And he wasn't even like 18 and you can be like, he hasn't he hadn't flourished yet. No, he was like 24 or something back then. And he couldn't find a spot in the Napoli team. And now all of a sudden he's in a title race in La Liga. I mean, guys, this is an interesting thing that Girona has done, and they did it. I think the real way it can be done, a bit like Leicester did, where it's like just finding players that are maybe not considered by other clubs, putting them in the right context, and making them win. David Blind, ex Ajax, ex Manchester United, felt like he had retired, and yet he's still playing for Girona. So it's very interesting what they've done. Very interesting. But yeah, Barcelona, I think it's one of the best times to go and play against them in their history because, look, they're not playing at the Camp Nou. They really have to focus on the league right now. As champions of La Liga, they have to defend it. The pressure is on, and they've got not only the usual Real Madrid and Atletico, but they've got Girona right there fighting with them for the league. And then you've got other teams that are maybe even going to push Barcelona out of the top four. I mean, Atletico, if they win their game in hand, they push Barcelona down to fourth. And then you've got Real Sociedad right behind them. And now we know Real Sociedad is a good team. So Barcelona are in this situation where they're not playing in the Camp Nou. Some of their main players are injured. Others like Lewandowski are not firing. They're struggling in the league. They've got loads of pressure both directions. It's a great, great time to go and face Barcelona. They don't have the capacity right now to invest much in the transfer market. They probably, will keep the team as they have it. I think they're out of levers to pull. So, yeah, it's gonna be a very, very interesting game. It's not gonna be easy at all, but it's the best time to face Barcelona. Hola, seguidores del Napoli. If you are from Barcelona, man, let me know. Let me know. David Lopez was such a flop for us. I remember shouting so much at his tackles. Yeah, man. I mean, the the struggle, and yet this guy now with Girona is doing so well. Atletico versus Inter will be a crazy game, says Danger. It will be the classic 0-0 or 1-1. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because I think it's two teams that like to counter. I don't know. It's not a game that I'm too particularly excited to watch. I think the game that excites me the most here, the one that's the most open, is probably Napoli Barca, PSG Real Sociedad, and PSV Dortmund. PSV guys, I mean you guys are probably thinking, oh, it's just some Dutch team. No, PSV are doing super well in the Eredivisie. Guys, they just beat yesterday the team that was in fourth spot, AZ Alkmaar, 4-0. 4-0. Guys, I mean, 4-0 is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy 4-0. And to beat a team in your own league 4-0, a team that's in fourth spot, who was actually third before that game, that says something. PSV have 16 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses in their own league. And I know that Ajax have not had the best of years, and I know that it's not the most competitive league, but guys, 56 goals scored in 16 games. That is annihilation. Let's just do a quick average on that. 3.5 goals per game. PSV in their own league. Guess how many goals against? 6 goals against. They only concede pretty much one every 3 games. That's literally like saying they win 4-0, 4-0, 3-1, 4-0, 4-0, 3-1, 4-0, 4-0, 3-1. That's literally like their kind of trend right now. I mean, it's insane. And then if you take a look at what they've done in the Champions League, they didn't have an easy group. I mean, they had to beat Sevilla, who, okay, is not the best team right now, but still Europa League winners last year. Lens, who again is kind of struggling this year in the in the French league, but at the same time, they don't have bad players. And then against Arsenal, they weren't too bad. They weren't too bad against Arsenal, PSV. What did they do against Arsenal? Let's see what they did. PSV Arsenal. Let's see. They drew 1-1. They drew 1-1. So not bad at all. And let's see what they did on the home game, Arsenal PSV. Uh, Arsenal PSV home game. What happened? Okay, they lost 4-0, but that was September. That was September. But since then, they have improved and they drew 1-1. So it's really an open game, and that's one that I really want to watch. PSV Dortmund. I think it'll be a great one. Even Barcelona at its worst situation will beat Napoli anytime, any day, says Raukal. Listen, it really depends, man. I mean, look, Barcelona's a good team. They are. But if if Lewandowski continues not to score, if they don't sort out their defense, which was so good last year, if they have pressure from the league to be in this title race, but also watch behind their backs of Real Sociedad, it might be not easy, of course not, but it might be easier this year than in previous years. Also, not playing in the Camp Nou makes a huge difference, guys. This year, Champions League didn't draw as a table, so we can't see our next potential opponent. So it never actually happens in the round of 16. So it only happens from the quarterfinals onwards. So once we get the winners of these games, then there will be a next draw, and we will see who's on the left and who's on the right side of the table. So, guys, the game that, apart from Napoli, the game that I'm most interested in watching is PSV Dortmund. I think that PSV could be the surprise dark horse of the competition, especially if they wrap up their league quite early on. If they beat Dortmund, then who knows? They can just concentrate fully on the Champions League. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just something about them that I'm kind of scared about with PSV. So let's see. Let's see. Um, don't forget to smash the like button, guys. Don't forget to smash the Barca. Barca has only Lewandowski and Joao Felix, and they're both not really strong attackers when you compare the force of Kvara and Nancy. I think look, the problem is that first of all, they're very good players. The problem is that even Lewandowski, not at his best, is probably his strengths are Rachmani's weaknesses. For example, like if a cross comes in from wide, Lewandowski is going to beat Rachmani 10 out of 10 times in the air. And that's kind of the problem that we have right now. But yeah, guys, these are two teams that know each other super well. We faced off in the Europa League 2 seasons ago. We faced off in the Champions League before COVID, or right when COVID hit. So this is a very very interesting situation. Lozano is playing in PSV. That'll be interesting to see. Dom Apuzzo, first of all, happy birthday for the birthday that you just had, similar to mine, and thank you for the $9.99 donation, man. Really, really appreciate it. Tarek says, I disagree. We are not getting better, Braga and Cagliari. There was some positives from both games. Some positives from both games. I didn't cover Cagliari, as you guys know, but what I saw was Osimhen being match sharp, which is super important. I mean, it has nothing to do with Mazzarri and all that, but just getting Osimhen back to fitness, regardless of who's the coach, I think is just a massive boost. And he's a top class player, like world class, top 10, 15 in the world. And if he's at his best physically, mentally, he's just won the African Player of the Year. He is maybe getting a boost in salary with Napoli, which it does affect the player's mood. If he's just mentally in the right place, and physically sharp, he can make the difference regardless on who's on the bench. So that could be super important. Leipzig Madrid will be a great attacking game in my opinion. Guys, Leipzig, I don't know, man. I really don't rate this team. They're a team that just has no soul, because how can you lose 7-1 against Manchester City in a knockout game like they did last season? It's just embarrassing. I mean, I know it's Manchester City, but you can't give up after 2 or 3-0 down. You can't do that. Not against these kind of teams. Um, I hope they've improved, they've learned their lesson, but a team that loses that badly, honestly, I just don't really respect it. And I think that Real Madrid will beat them quite comfortably, is my opinion. Um, Copenhagen Man City is actually an interesting game because Copenhagen beat United, the other team in Manchester. What will Man City do? Will they underestimate them? Or will they take that as a lesson and destroy Copenhagen? It's entirely possible. At the same time, Copenhagen have proven that they are not an easy team to beat, because they passed a group that had also Galatasaray and United, which, even though they're not the most amazing teams, they're not bad. They have some real quality players. They show that they are organized. They show that they are tough to beat. They got good points away from home as well. So they're not just a team that relies on their home form. They, along with PSV, could be a bit of a surprise package this year. I don't think they have enough to beat City. I think the only team that could have maybe beat City from the the runners up would have been PSG or Inter. For example, I don't think Napoli would have been able to beat them. But yeah, they got Copenhagen, and that's that's an interesting one. Definitely on social media, it'll be an interesting one, because if they destroy Copenhagen, then the real victims there are probably Man United fans, since Man United lost to them. I would be confident if Napoli was in last year's form, but at this level of playing, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, I mean, guys, it's super hard, and I put my rankings in terms of how strong these teams are here, with obviously the big three: Bayern, Real, and City, the three favorites to win it. The teams with 3 stars, which is the ones that have a solid team or exceptional players like Mbappe, or in the case of Barcelona, just with Barcelona, I was debating whether to put them as a 3 or 2 star team, but in the end, there's always this thing about you know history in the competition. You're still playing against a team that is used to certain levels, even though not in recent years. But it's tough. It's tough to go there. And then the 2 star teams, which are teams that either don't have a lot of history in the competition, or they're just not there yet with the quality, or they just have a lot of question marks over them. And it includes Napoli. It includes Dortmund as well. I think even though they top their group, I just can't see them being very strong. I just don't know how they managed to do that. I still don't think that they were the best team in that group. I still think, for example, Newcastle and Milan were both stronger than Dortmund. And if Dortmund managed to go first, it's because of not lucky events, but I mean, things can go in many different ways in a football game, and I just think that it just happened to go their way. But Milan and Newcastle, especially Newcastle, I feel would have been a better team than Dortmund. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. 3 stars for Barca because UEFA refs going on their knees for them. Yeah, maybe. What do you think about Napoli versus Cagliari again? We really missed many chances against not a strong team. If we make similar mistakes in Champions League, we will not go far. Yeah, the Cagliari game, guys. Apologies again for not having covered it. I think there's some real positives, which is Osimhen, as we just said, being just mentally and physically in a good spot. It's also nice for him to get an assist because, look, his assist game is not his strong point. Do you remember the first few crosses he did in the first half in that game? They were super bad. But then to do that assist for the second goal, oof, that was crazy. So and to control the ball like that, to beat the players, I mean, he had to show elite technicality, elite physicality, elite awareness. So it's he's just in a good spot right now. I feel mentally and physically. That's super good for us. First bit of good news. Second bit of good news: Mairo is back. When he came on, it was like night and day, night and day. His ability to cross the ball, we've missed it. Oliveira is not a good crosser. Di Lorenzo is not a good crosser. Politano is to some extent, but he can't really cross from deep, as we said. If he crosses the ball with his right foot, since he plays on the right, it's from much closer, and it's not effective all the time. So we really missed crosses from out wide. Mairudui can bring that. So those are two bits of good news. The third bit of good news is Cannavaro scoring. Cannavaro, I think this goal could really help him just settle down a bit. I think when Cannavaro realizes that he doesn't have to dribble 20 people every game, that will be super useful, super good. I feel like that's kind of his biggest weakness is that he feels like he needs to make a highlight compilation every single game. It's not like that. It doesn't have to be like that. Um, this goal could really just help him just settle down. And also, what I liked about it is that this goal was just pure anger, pure rage. You know, first time finish. There's an element of luck as well because it hits the post and it goes in. And when something like that happens, like it, I think it unlocks something in you that you think, oh, finally luck is on my side, and it just gives you that little bit of extra reassurance. But also, I really like the anger that he put into it. I I I can really see this goal being a bit of a liberation for Kvara. Let's see. And then I really liked Zanoli coming in. Zanoli was good. Raspadori was good. The only negative thing is maybe that Lindstrom is not getting much minutes. I don't know. I don't know. Do you think that Zerbi will be our new manager in the summer? I think a lot depends on Mazzarri. Um, why is that? If Mazzarri gets us to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, if he does well in the quarterfinals, like if he wins one of the games, or plays really well even if we don't pass the quarterfinals, and if he gets us Champions League football, I can't see De Laurentiis not continuing with Mazzarri. You know what I mean? Like if you have a guy who hits all the objectives, I think a lot will depend also on the Coppa Italia. This is something that is kind of not talked about enough, but we have a game against Frosinone tomorrow. Um, if he does well in the Coppa Italia, if we win the Coppa Italia, for example, it's tough to let go of a manager that has just won you a trophy, right? Especially since the Coppa Italia is kind of like the last game of the season. You know, leaving a coach on such a high. I mean, Spalletti left on a high, but it's because he wanted to. So yeah, I think it's not granted that Mazzari will leave us. It will depend on just how successful this season is. But yeah, let's see. Are we able to beat Barcelona, and how much will change until February? I think, I think we would be able to. I think we would honestly. We have we have time until February to get our players back into full fitness. Guys like Mairui, hopefully Anguissa and Osimen are able to come back from the African Cup of Nations without any injuries. Maybe one of them. will use that tournament to actually boost their fitness. I'm thinking maybe Osimhen. He's been out for a while. Maybe a few games back to back will be good for him. Good for his confidence as well if he can get Nigeria to a good position. I don't think either of them are gonna go super far. I can't see them making it past the quarterfinals, so I don't think there's a risk of too many games. And yeah, let's just see how it goes. Let's just see how it goes. Whereas Barcelona, Gavi's out for a long time. Um, and then you've got Lewandowski, who's a bit of a question mark. But as I said, Lewandowski, even if he's not at his best, will still be a very dangerous player. I don't think they have the money though to buy anyone in the transfer market that will make a huge difference. I think if anything, Napoli will be more active in the transfer market. And let's see. Apparently, there's this famous 30 million euros that we're willing to spend in the transfer market. It's not clear yet what position, who it's for, but let's see. Mash said, "Did we have Barca again?" Yes, we got Barca again. Napoli Barca. So yeah, let's see what happens here. I hope Lindstrom does start in the Coppa Italia game. Me too. Let's hope that this kid starts, that he scores a goal. He shows us a bit of something, gives Mazzari something to think about. Because honestly, like we need that. We need that from Lindstrom. We need to know whether he's someone that we can rely on, or whether we need to already start thinking about alternatives for Lindstrom. And yeah, we saw Mairui from last season. Last season, I put him in my team of the season. So if we can get that kind of Mairui back, that would be amazing. And I think an underrated mistake that Garcia did this season was pushing too much Oliveira. Even when Marui was coming back from his injury from preseason and Marui was fit, he pushed Oliveira a little. He pushed with Oliveira a little bit too much, whereas it's clear that maybe Marui is the better of the two. So, yeah, not to mention, I think that Zerbi is really pushing for that Manchester City or Liverpool spot, because at some point Klopp and Guardiola will leave one of these two teams, and I think that Zerbi is wants to go there first. I do see him being a Napoli manager at some point in the future, but I don't think he will break his momentum of being in England this fast. I think he'll try to stay there as long as possible, and just be within touching distance of Liverpool and City for the next job. Because once you leave the Premier League, it makes it, I think, more difficult to be considered for the job, in my opinion. But yeah. Anyways, guys, make sure that you guys smash the like button. Welcome to everyone that is new. Uzo Efuna Benson, Vittorio Giordano. Welcome, 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 guys. If you are new to the chat, PTSD when we lost 5-0 to Barca with Mazzarri in 2011, but we are much better this year. I am confident, but I have good memories of that game in the Trofeo. What's it called? Trofeo Gumper? Trofeo Gamper? Something like that. Based off the name of one of Barcelona's ex-presidents. We did lose 5-0, but when it was still 0-0, Cavani scored an absolutely outrageous bicycle kick, which was then called off for offside, but it was absolutely outrageous. That's what I most remember about that game. Are we gonna offer Kvara a new contract? Hopefully. I think the priority is Osimhen right now. Even though Osimhen's new contract essentially means that he's gonna leave, because what I heard is that it's only for 1 year an extension, and with a release clause. So it just guarantees that Napoli doesn't get lowballed this summer, because if he doesn't have this extra year and the release clause, clubs will come in and ask for 70, 80 million. You know, they're like, oh, he's not he hasn't renewed with you yet. He's expiring next year, so we're gonna offer this much, and then it puts Napoli in a very hard spot. Whereas with a renewal, even for just 1 year, and a clear release clause, then we know for a fact that we might not get the best deal in the world, but at least we get a decent deal out of him. Welcome, Prince Martins Omo Rogbe. Welcome, man. Welcome. Hopefully, a lot of new subscribers to the channel. If the Zerbi comes, do you think that Kvara will be a good fit for this system, considering he plays a more structured game, which means less individuality? I think that the midfielders of Zielinski and Lobotka would love to play under De Zerbi, and then that will really help Napoli um, excel. And I think that Kvara will still play well. I think it actually brings Zielinski and Lobotka to an even higher level. Um, he loves his central midfielders to crowd the middle, give options to the center backs with the ball. I think we would, if we get a guy like that Zerbi, we would need to fix some of our players, in especially at the back. But I think the ones up front are fine. I mean, I see his football as more like very structured in defense and in the midfield, and then like most coaches, what you do in attack is a bit more free form. You know, you let the creativity of the players kind of dictate where it goes. Who will replace Osimhen when he leaves? That'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Um, Hopefully we replace him and we don't just rely on Raspadori or Simeone. I think Napoli has always done well to find strong strikers. Um, I would really love to see Boniface from Leverkusen. If we replace Osimhen for 140 million, spend 70, 80 on Boniface, um, that would be super nice. It would also ensure that the market that you created in Nigeria doesn't go to waste, right? It would be nice if Napoli could continue this relationship with Nigeria and build a strong fan base of Nigerians that want to follow Italian football, that they go for a team like Napoli because they have history, because with Nigerian players such as Osimhen, then Boniface, then after him there's probably going to be some other amazing Nigerian player. So I think these kind of things are important. Building like a customer base in a certain country, because it unlocks things down the line. For example, then you will start getting young Nigerians that are like 7, 8, 9 years old having Napoli as their favorite team, and then when they get to being 22 or 23 and they're amazing football players, then they want to play for Napoli instead of maybe Milan or Inter or whatever. So it has some long-term benefits, and also obviously commercially, um, you would just get a bunch of people from a huge country that are buying your shirts, are coming to Napoli to watch the game. Like, I don't know, I think it's just important. It's just important. Let's talk about the Cagliari game. I haven't seen your match reaction. I know. It's because I was not able to make the reaction. What I said about that game is that there were a few good things. Victor Osimhen seems sharp, match fit. I mean, to pull off the assist that he pulled off is incredible. I mean, you need everything. You need awareness, physicality, mental sharpness, awareness of where you are, where the opponents are, where Kvara is. You need a lot of like you need to feel like you are the one that has to win it for Napoli. You know, you scored the first goal, which was amazing in itself. They score the tie, and then you feel like, man, I need to do something special, you know. And there's a lot of players that they crumble under responsibility. Osimhen is not that. Osimhen actually probably gets better as you put more responsibility on his shoulder. So yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. And having Osimhen back at his best really helps, regardless of, as I said, regardless of who's the manager. I mean, if you give Spalletti a very bad Osimhen, he probably would not have won the title last year, right? So you need, regardless of who the manager is, you need Osimhen at his best to give yourself a chance. Kvara, I like the fact that in his goal there was just a lot of anger, a lot of, a lot of rage, and it's like a liberation goal. I think the fact that it hits the post and goes in, is luck turning back on our side. Could they tap into that psychologically? Maybe. Mauro Rui coming back is huge for us. We've really missed having a good, decent, proper left back who can whip in some crosses. Osimhen will get some service that he wasn't getting neither on the left, neither on the right, because we don't have anyone on the right that actually is able to whip those kind of crosses in from those kind of deep positions. Um, and then, yeah, those were kind of like our main positives. Overall, the team reacted super well to having gone behind. There's there's teams that crumble when things like that happen. Um, and then Napoli, I think, showed a bit of Mazzarri yesterday or on Saturday, where we conceded a goal right after we scored. It takes you 70 minutes to score a goal. You're so happy, you're so relieved, and then you immediately concede. A real nice top team with mental attributes, with the willingness to fight, would then take the game and go again. And Napoli did that exactly. Um, Other teams, maybe if we were still under Garcia, other teams would maybe not have reacted that way. But yeah, that's what I think was positive. A lot of negatives still, a lot of wasted chances. We allowed Cagliari to score with Pavoletti, not even on a header. I mean, if you let Pavoletti score with a header, that's one thing. But if you let him score with a tap in, eh, maybe you could do better defensively. And now that Maru is back, let's see what Garcia. Let's see what Mazzari decides to do with the center back pairing. Does he put Nathan in the center because he'd been playing left back before? Does he put Juan Jesus back on the bench? Does he keep Rachmani? Will we play Ostigard? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Predictions for Napoli Roma. Um, Roma are in a really bad spot right now. Lost 2-0 to Bologna. Mourinho is kind of losing it with his players. Puts on Renato Sanchez in the second half, takes him away after 18 minutes, doesn't even really offer an explanation for it. I mean, he wasn't even playing that bad, Renato Sanchez. That can't have gone well in the dressing room. I don't know if this Roma team has what it takes to get into the top four in the long term. Against Napoli, obviously, it's a game that they will feel heavily. They really care about this game. But I don't know. I just can't I just can't see Roma being an issue for us long term. Even if we were not to win, I can't see them being a long term issue for us. They're just too inconsistent, and they've got serious problems in their squad. Obviously, against Bologna, they didn't have Dybala, they didn't have Lukaku, so they didn't have their most skillful player and they didn't have their most physical player. So they lacked a bit of both against a very good Bologna. Against Napoli, Lukaku will be back, so let's see what happens there. How we are able to come up against such a physical striker. We failed against Pavoletti. We let him score. So Lukaku could give us some serious problems. Let's see. Let's see. But hopefully we don't put Roma in a position where they can score against us, where they are gonna be whipping too many crosses in and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we definitely, I think, need to this winter go and buy a center back that is super physical, like a really tough to beat in the air center back. Someone that someone that when you put him up against a guy like Lukaku can hold his own. I think that's what we need because Rahmani is not that kind of guy. Um, so yeah, guys, I think I think this is gonna be it for this live. What do you guys think of the shirt? It's new. Um, the Napoli Halloween shirt with the skulls. It's super nice. So let me know what you guys think about this last 16 draw. If you are not in the live but you have come later, put it in the comments. If you have joined the live and have joined us as a new subscriber, for example Adama here, then welcome. Always welcome new Napoli fans. And yes, I will be covering the game against Frosinone. So yeah, I'll see you guys after that game. I guess 11:15 p.m. Italy time tomorrow. 15 minutes after the game ends, we will be live talking about Frosinone against Napoli. All right, guys. I hope you guys have fantastic rest of the day. My lunch break is over. I need to go and start studying for some exams that I have. Um, and that's about it. That's about it, guys. I think your lunch break is also over. Get back to work. Get back to work. You guys. Come on, come on. Or are we all just chilling today? Is this a chilling Monday type of Monday? I don't know, but most of you probably do have some work to get to. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna end this here. Have a good one, and as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.